as far as seeding goes, that's been one of the common questions, is how that's going to work. And it's random, but it's random with an asterisk. And that is that first it's going to be a randomization of assignment of the top teams, former gold teams, Wednesday night fight gold teams, those kind of teams, the ones that we kind of are a known quantity to be the top 10% or so. And then once those have been assigned so that they're evenly spread, then we have the rest of the teams will be randomly assigned underneath that within the bracket for their server. So it's like last season, you'll see 3 separate brackets once the registration is done and we get seeding going, one for each server. We'll try to even that out as much as possible. Last time, I want to say we had 2 teams that ended up getting assigned to a division that was not their primary server, and we had to do that to balance out the divisions. But out of 150 or whatever teams, 2 teams is a pretty good ratio. So we'll try to keep it nice and tight like that this time. Also, you notice one thing we did add to the information is there's now a feature for you to have a country flag for your team. So you can, on your standings and stuff, it'll fly the colors of whatever country you wish to represent if your team has a particular country. TV, I don't see you here listening in, but he pinged me. Yeah, rah. No, he's not on either. So, all right. Well, anyway, I'm not going to worry about that anymore. Just like last time, when we get to the playoffs, you'll cut down your roster if it's more than 11 to 11 for the playoffs. At the end of the regular season, I'll go ahead and give Rybot the list for everybody who participated in the regular season. And one of the things I want to draw everyone's attention to is your receipt of any prizing, including participation, requires you not to be eliminated by rule or by forfeit. So if you just can't get your act together and get booted, or if you forfeit and don't finish out the season, then you don't get anything, period. So we expect you to stick around, even if you're 0-7, right? Stick around, fly the flag, play your games. Sec here. Scrolling down through the rules here. Brackets, I went over how the brackets are a little bit. It's very similar to last time. We probably will have a waiting list. I'm anticipating it. So just like last time, seeding is in the order of registration. So if you're the last couple of teams that make it in before registration closes, then you may end up on the waiting list if the divisions don't work out quite right. Let's see.
Pat, may I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
That you call out the rule that you're commenting on, so people who are following the rules can read it while you're speaking.
Good suggestion. I haven't been necessarily pausing at a particular rule, but as I kind of scan over, my mind will come up with a rule that I remember changing, and I just spout it off. The rules are in the, I believe I posted them in the event announcements. They're also on Battlefy. Let me just scroll up here through event announcements and see if they're there. No, I didn't, but I did post a link to Battlefy there. And so if you go to the Battlefy, you click on rules and you'll see the whole spiel. Again, the exact schedules, the start times are determined, but exactly how many series you'll have to play each week and what time the follow-on series will be is kind of depends on how many teams register. The bigger the event, the more series there will need to be played. I always stack more series towards the end of the regular season. So there's 5 weeks. So say, for example, divisions end up 9 teams per division. Then that would mean each team in that division would play 8 series over those 5 weeks. And we would go ahead and stack 2 per week for the last 3 weeks, and then 1 per week for the first 2 weeks. That kind of keeps the first week a little bit lighter, gives teams a chance to get the feel for what's going on. And then by the end of the season, of course, everybody's got the routine down. Oh, by the way, that was Rule 3.2 that I was talking about there with the schedule. So, like, for example, we know Euro bracket will be just like last time. We'll start Europe first, and then East, and then West last to help adjust for some of the crazy time zones.
Pat, just for everybody's edification, I just put up a PDF in the general chat channel of the rules and the schedule. So anybody wants to download that on their phone and follow along, it's available.
So that, which document is that? Is that the one that has all the, I guess, okay, I know which one that is. Yeah, that has some extra stuff on it that's really not player related, but it'll do. So if, for example, I seem to recall with 5-game series, an hour between series was kind of cutting it tight. So we'll probably plan an hour and a half between series. So for example, if you're in Euro server, your first series would be at 1700 UTC and your second series would be at 1830 UTC. And if we have enough teams in the divisions that we need 3 series a week, then that third one would be at 2000 UTC. That would be a lot. If we have that many teams, that'll be exciting. Scrolling down here, playoffs are exactly like last time, except we're 1 round shorter because there's no gold challenge round. First round of playoffs includes the 16, this is 3.3. First round of the wild card round consists of the division champions and the next 16 teams, and based on all the tiebreakers that I have listed there under 3.3. And I added one based on damages, clan wars, the kill-death ratio. That seems to have worked pretty well to remove a lot of the potential tiebreaker situations, so I added that in. Had I had more time to tweak the rules, I might have made that one a little bit higher in the order, but we were kind of under the gun to get the rules in. It was really pretty tight schedule. We had less than a week to get it all hammered out from when we got the green light until we had to have it to translators. So anyway, I was saying that for the distribution of prizing, yes, the participation silver, we're going to try to get out as soon as possible after the regular season ends, so that the teams that are going off into the playoffs will have a little bit of silver in their account to help keep them going through the playoffs. Just a second here. I've got a couple pings to catch up on. Okay. Streaming. Okay, we'll talk about maps here in a minute. Streaming and moderation of events. During the regular season, the streamers are going to be free to pick and choose which battles they want to pop into to stream. The rule I'm going to have for them, however, is that they don't stream their own home team. So if streamer X is a former Immortal, then he won't be streaming the Immortals games. There's going to be plenty of other games to choose from. And the other thing I'm going to ask all the streamers is to not stream the same team twice during the regular season, to spread it out so that as many teams as possible get coverage. Okay, team management of games, unless there's just a complete meltdown between your teams and you have to call in a moderator to host the room, just like last time, You guys figure out amongst yourselves which team. There's not going to be a home team assigned to you. The two teams get together, decide who wants to host the room, and then the rules spell out. If you're the host, that means you're responsible for this, that, and the other. And the host picks the two first tanks, but they also get the first map. So it's kind of a balance there between the two.
Pat, is there a specific channel you want them to use to make those arrangements?
Yeah, when they get to the WCL server, once the registration is over, some teams are already on it because they were left over from last season. But most of you will be getting an invite to the WCL server as soon as registration closes. I'll be using your contact email and sending out a global email through Battlefy with that link. And once you get to the WCL server, you will, and we get everything sorted and everybody tagged up appropriately, you will see a division channel just like last season. And all of your division teams will be there and you'll be able to talk to them and sort all that out. One of the things that is different this time, like I said, there is no home team set. It's up to the two teams to decide amongst themselves who's going to do that. And the reason we did that is so that some teams simply don't have anybody with premium time. And so we didn't want to create a situation where, somebody had to go purchase premium time and that they couldn't otherwise afford just to be able to participate. So if Team A, has no problem hosting a room, but Team B doesn't have anybody that can, then Team A obviously is going to be the host. So work with your fellow teams on that and get that sorted. Also, for reporting results, 4.2.3, both teams are equally responsible. Not just winner or not just loser. You can work it out amongst yourselves who posts it, but you need to get that posted. If you can't get it into Battlefy, then we'll have the score report section of the WCL forum server to do that. But that's the backup. We want the screenshot in Battlefy if at all possible. And the screenshot we're looking for is different than last time. Last time, the screenshot we wanted was the one that says either victory or defeat. No, because kill-death ratio is going to be a tiebreaker, we want the second screen, the screen that actually says, this is your results. This is how many kills you got. This is how much damage you got for everybody, so that we can go ahead and add that up. Nice to see so many people here, by the way. And also, one of the things we've had a problem with previously is there's always some teams that, for whatever reason, everybody forgets to post the score or whatever happens, and we end up having to hunt down, a day or two later. What was the score of this series? We're done with that. It's on you guys to post the score, and if it doesn't get posted, both teams are going to get a loss. That's it. If we can't find it, we're not going to hunt it down. You get a loss. So we'll give you until an hour after the final battle of the day. So that should be ample time to get those screenshots put up. Playoffs a whole different ball game. Playoffs are going to be moderated just like always. So there will be a moderator in every playoff game. So the teams don't have to worry about that. And the playoff rules aren't changing from what everyone's used to. So that'll be straightforward. Okay, team composition. 4.3. This is, we're getting maps. That's coming. Team composition. The big thing is it's unlimited. 7 players, 7 tanks, whatever tanks you want to play. No restrictions whatsoever. We did this for 2 reasons. 1, because that's the way Arena is set up. And 2, because we don't want at tier 10 people to not be able to field a team because they've got guys on their team with only 1 or 2 tanks to choose from. And if all they can pull together is guys that all happen to have tank X, we don't want them to not be able to play because of that. So this opens it up so that you can run what you brung. If your guys on your particular clan can only field, 7 E100s, then fine, go for it. Have fun. All right. Tank selection. Regular season, it's 2x2 with the host team picking the first two. Now, remember, guys, this is all, we don't want to have disputes. If you see some funny business, the other guy has 8 tanks picked or whatever, you just say, hey, somebody needs to unpick. You communicate it in Discord, you get it straightened out, and whoever's hosting the room, don't launch the battle until you've got a confirmation that the other team is ready. Okay? Simple as that. This is about getting it done clean, not trying to screw your opponent out of a game. Moving down. Okay, map selection. Yeah. You guys that don't like Dukla, tough crap. We always like to put one new map in every season just to keep things fresh. We had a list. We were under the gun to get it chosen. TV and I went over the list, suggested a few, looked over a few, went into the training room, and of the options that were ready to go, it looked like Dukla was the least objectionable. Yeah, under the gun time-wise. We had a very strict timeline to get this finalized and in time to get approved and move forward. So it was, yeah. Basically, it was they came to us and said, okay, you've got a green light. Get us the rules by the end of the week. And we were like, crap. So we got it all together and got it into Rybot, and it is what it is. No, the map will not be changed at this point. It's locked in. This time has come and gone. So the good news is you only have to worry about it 1 week. There's 10 maps. There's 5 weeks. It'll be 2 maps per week with Ghost Town as your tiebreaker. And so Dukla Pass will only show up 1 week. You'll probably only have 1 or 2 series on it. If you don't like it, you'll probably never see it again. But if somebody does like it, they're free to choose it again come playoff time. You never know what you're going to get until we actually see what people come up with. Yeah. There's a reason Mines isn't on the list. Okay, so again, in regular season, the maps will be predetermined. If you look on the schedule in Battlefy, you'll see right now it's kind of left skeleton, just kind of the weeks. And the reason that is the case is because we can't finalize all of that information until registration is complete. Then we'll know how many rounds per week, and then we'll assign the maps as well for each week. Now, I already know which maps are going to each week, but we're not going to make it public until registration is closed. Double cap. We did look at double cap. The problem is everyone knows there's issues with it right now. Plus, there's only 5 maps for it right now, and we need 10 to make this work. So it was simply not an option for us at this point. In the playoffs, it'll be just like previous. Each team will get to choose a map in the first round, and then later rounds of the playoffs, it'll be 2 maps per team because it'll be best of 9 after the first round. Home team in the playoffs goes to this higher seeded team. Simple as that. And that's going to be just like last time. You'll get to choose either your home server or first map and spawn. So yes, there will be situations where people get put onto servers that they don't like, but that's just unfortunately part of the system. So for seeding, yes, we're going to use a combination of last season's WCL rankings and Wednesday Night Fights rankings. Basically, if you're a team that's on Wednesday Night Fight, we're going to use that more up-to-date ranking. If you're a team that's not part of Wednesday Night Fights, then we'll use your previous WCL rankings. If you were there, if you are neither a team from WCL or from previous Wednesday Night Fight, and so we don't really have anything to go on, then you'll just be lumped in with everybody else. Yes, there is some crossover between the two for sure. And where there is crossover, we will go with the more up-to-date current ranking, which is Wednesday Night Fight. Okay, so that's the kind of the quick highlights of the rules. So I'm going to go just answer your questions at this point. Yes, Crimson of Death, there is the chance that a team that's higher seeded will be able to pull someone to a really poor server for them. That's part of seeding. That's part of making sure you get your positioning in the regular season. The regular season counts. Yeah, I know. I mean, it is what it is, right? There is no ideal solution, unfortunately. The new super team. So yeah, one of the things we've got the capability to do now is I can run some quick searches between last season's registration list and this season's registration list, and can track real easy. I mean, I can go put in, just an ace, and boom, see right real quick what team he was on last season, what team he's on this season. I already happen to know that, but that's just an example I pulled out of my head. And I can do that with any player. So I can go through the teams. If I see some obvious players or a team that doesn't look like it's showing up, then yes, I'm going to look for those players and see where they are. And if I see a team that's trying to stealth their way in, I'll catch that and I'll bump them up into the preferred list for seeding. Yes, this is a well-attended meeting. I love it. Some of you guys that were here got here late. We spent most of the time going over the rules. Yeah, nobody would ever try and just, create a new team with highly skilled players just to catch people by surprise, would they? That would be like unheard of. Can you hear the irony in my voice? Yeah, there you go. Meme teams. Why Michael X asks why best of 9 in the playoffs for the Sweet 16 and up, and that's because it ensures that the game will go at least 5 matches, which means it's a guaranteed that each team will be able to pick a map and play 2 games on it. And so it's kind of balances out the most fair situation for a playoff bout to get both teams a chance to really show what they've got on their favorite map. In a best of 5, since you only necessarily will get 3 games played, it's possible that a team may never get both of their 2 games on their favorite map. And 7 is unbalanced because you have one team getting 2 map choices where the other one only 1. So that's why best of 9. Yeah, I've actually heard a couple of people talking about Dukla Pass. There definitely is going to be challenging, but some teams have started to say that, yeah, there are some strats that can work on it. So it'll be a challenge for everybody to figure those out and figure out the counters. Yes, Ghost Town encounter is the tiebreaker. That worked really well last time, and we didn't see any reason to change that at all. That seems to be a very good map, good, well-balanced map. Okay, hold on, Big Slice. The random super teams. Oh yeah. So that will kind of be a judgment call. We'll look at the teams that are ranked. We'll look at the teams that have some of these stacked mercenaries or whatever from old teams. And if we see a team that is mostly composed of former gold team players, then we will lump it in with the other gold teams for determining that initial seeding. There is a Russian team, the one with the Peroshkin. I can't read Cyrillic though, so I'm not sure what they're calling themselves this season. Anyway, it's in Battle 5. They were one of the first teams to get in. Hold on, looks like I'm getting some pings here. Yeah, bacon, that's fine. I think I already answered your question, Michael. I'm not sure what you mean by pre-season. So regular season, the maps are assigned, and the order of the maps is assigned. In playoffs, each team will get to pick a map. You don't have to pick your maps for the playoffs until you actually get there to the lobby and tell your moderator, this is the map we choose. So you can keep that as a surprise for the last minute, which means you're going to play each map once during the regular season, or possibly more than once, depending on the how many teams are in the event. And so that will give you a chance to get some experience on each map, and then you can see which ones you like the best and use those for the regular or for the playoffs if you make it to the playoffs. Okay, what do we got here? Last three. Yeah, we're trying to limit that by doing a seeding of the best teams first, evenly between the divisions, and then seeding kind of the unknowns, everyone else's underneath them. So hopefully make that a little more spread out, yet still randomized. Yeah, Tank Killer, you guys are pretty good last season. You're one of the surprise teams, as I recall. I know RG definitely surprised 47R when you guys played them. They were like, who the heck are these guys? All right, any other questions about the event, about registration? Yep, that's just about a year ago. Wasn't it April of last year that we had our finals? April or May? Well, not over a year, but almost a year. No, there are no rules against climbing boosts. If the map allows it and you can do it, have fun. It's a competition, no holds barred. Big slice. You asked a big question there. The future of WCL. What I'll tell you at this point is that this will be the last season using this format. And I can't tell you any more than that at this point. Not meaning 770, but meaning using BattleFi and having a full season league set up the way we're currently running it, plus playoffs afterwards. The scope is that'll be kind of, we have to wait and see. Unfortunately, the big question is how much will they fix on Arena and how fast. That's really in Microsoft's hands more than Wargaming's. I know a lot of you guys like to blame Wargaming for that, but I can tell you from what I've seen that Wargaming's got their part of it actually pretty well sorted. It's the other fingers involved that are really causing the biggest issues. And so there are actually three companies involved: Microsoft, Wargaming, and there's a company similar to ESL, whose name I can't remember now, based out of England, that's actually developing the interface for Arena in between the two. And so a lot of fingers involved. Yeah, Tank Killer, they're not going to kill Arena, unfortunately. I had that discussion, and they've made it very clear that that's a decision that takes place at very high levels, and the sunk costs are such that everybody is committed. And for Microsoft, it's a huge issue because Sony's making it work for PlayStation, and so Microsoft's got a huge fire under their butt to make it work too. Otherwise, Xbox looks bad. So there are bigger things at stake here than just World of Tanks when it comes to Arena. Any other questions? World of Tacos? No, thank you. So that's a tough question. In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. For example, one of the things that dies with this season is participation silver. This is the last event that will have that, period. And the only reason I was able to get it for this event is I had to make a personal plea to the particular wargaming employee who made that decision. We were really close to not having it at all. So yeah, this is the last event for that. So what everyone's hoping, right, is they go ahead and get to a point that they have Arena working, and then you guys will make silver and experience for participating, and they won't have to worry about participation silver. It's just a really pain in the butt overhead for wargaming. It takes an incredible amount of time for them to credit 2,000 accounts with stuff. And that's real money that they're paying real employees to do that. So there's actually a huge time factor involved. So, so Arena, so this is kind of getting out of just WCL, but Wargaming seems to have kind of a pattern they go to for how the bigger the event, the more people they'll give prizing to, right? They kind of seem to generally go like top 10% or so of an event. So if you've got 40 teams, top 4. If you got 80 teams, top 8 kind of thing. For WCL, we've been able to get more than that because we've really pushed hard and built this up. And these, as a community, we know you guys kind of are expecting that now, and that was one of our selling points to Wargame, that to get the pricing that we got was, hey, if you cut it as much as they wanted to cut it, we're like, nobody's going to want to come. and frankly, as staff, we're not going to want to put in our time if it's not going to have enough of a reward to make it worthwhile for the community. And so after considering it, they realized that there was some truth to that, and so they gave us the pricing that they gave us, which was considerably more than what they wanted to give us. So I'm very thankful to Wargaming for stepping up for that. How organized will the comp scene be in the future? Hopefully, it will be quite organized. I mean, if everything gets implemented the way it's planned, at least as far as it's been told to us, then it should be really cool because it will be mostly automated. The manpower on our end as staff requirements are going to be way down. Basically, it'll just have to do with advertising and getting it set up electronically, and then it'll mostly take care of itself. But we just don't know how long it's going to take to get to the point that it's ready to that level. So future for cash prizes, I honestly don't see it on console. Here's the deal. Here's the economics behind that. The reason PC was able to do cash prizes is because their streams and the viewership they get is in the tens of thousands of viewers. And so that generates revenue that can then be turned around to get cash prizes. They get advertisers and things. For us, our viewer base on our streams, we're talking a few hundred. It's a couple of orders of magnitude less than what PC gets in viewership. And so there just isn't the advertising revenue there on console to be able to support cash prizing. I would love to see that change, but it isn't there yet. Any other questions? Those are some good questions, Big Slice. You can tell you've thought about some of this.
Pat, I'd like to also on the cash prizing, the IRS has stepped in on war chests and that kind of payment, causing a lot of problems for gaming companies to issue cash prizing without proper reporting. So many of them are going to start stepping
In
away
fact,
from
we've
that.
looked into that, and I believe the requirement is that any individual user that gets more than $600 in retail value in pricing from a company has to have as the 1098 or 1099 or I don't remember what the form is. But
Yeah, 1099 miss.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, there are limits to that for sure. Yeah, Big Slice, you seem to have an idea what's going on there. Alrighty, well, we had 40 people or 40 teams register in our first day of registration. That is right up there, similar numbers to what we had last season when we ended up with 160 or whatever it was teams. So I have every reason to believe that we're going to be well into the 100XX level of teams this time, which is very encouraging. Yep, Wargaming clearly does want to support us, and a lot of support depends on participation levels. They're going to be watching very closely to see if a year later we can still draw this kind of registration numbers that we drew last season. Because yeah, they are watching to see if, despite all these delays with Arena, if the community is still there. And because, you know, they are investing time and they realize time is slipping and there are players that have left. And so they're really interested in seeing those numbers and seeing if enough of the community is still there and if enough new blood has come in to make up for that. So we'll see. Last time our total registration count was just below 2,000. I want to say it was 1,860 or something like that once we got it all sorted. So as of our first day, we had over 500 individual registrants. So I think we're going to be on track to be right about that size again. And there's always a big burst the last day as well. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see about War Thunder. I haven't played it myself, but I've got friends that do. And I don't know. It's a very different thing. Plays very differently. Registration closes Friday midnight Pacific time, which is very early Saturday morning for most of you. In total, it ends up being 8 days of registration. Thoughts on reskins? Well, I'll simply tell you that I owned every premium tank in the game until they started doing all the reskins. That's when I said, you know what, I'm not going to spend money on the same tank twice. And so now I have about, I don't know, 60 or 70 premiums, basically my favorites. And I don't buy a premium unless I think it's going to add something to that I'm missing from my repertoire. Well, I may be a working man that has a good wage, but I still have limits to how much money I'm going to blow on a hobby. I gotta at least see something out of it that's worth my while. Check Mega Pack. Oh man. Okay, so it sounds like Bacon's going to end the recording soon here, since it looks like we've moved pretty much off topic. Any more last-second questions regarding the event itself? Yes, there will still be comp stuff. Stay tuned. I know there's some stuff cooking with Wednesday Night Fights and their auspices, and we'll just have to wait and see. I'm not at liberty to release any specific event names or anything like that. But yes, there are things in the works.